in this Q&A, I'm going to read the question because I think this individual asked multiple questions in one. The subscriber asked, spell, quote, spell, unquote, is basically a mysterious good feeling or odd interest and curiosity from something that gives you that there's something about this that is making me feel good, but I don't know what it is feeling. Spiritually, you know that this feeling you are getting is wrong, but the flesh is telling you otherwise. If you're trying to understand why you're so interested in this thing but struggle because it's so overwhelming that it distracts you from trying to understand it, that is a spell, well, this question, it has a statement of what this individual thinks a spell is. And then there's this comment on it that spiritually you know it's wrong, but your flesh tells you otherwise. So this is duality in this question over here. The flesh, when the New Testament talks about the flesh, it's not talking about the physical body. It talks about the relief-centered attitude people have. Flesh refers to self-effort, to relief. And of course, worldly people seek relief through physical means often in sexual exploitation, or in drugs, or in alcohol. Alcohol is a very old one. But alcohol in itself, whether it's beer, wine, or rice wine, or whatever, or sexual interest in itself, those things are not the flesh. The flesh is that relief-centered attitude. It's the attitude all worldly people grow into because they're not born again. So worldly people, they only have the flesh. They do have an internal alarm that can alarm them, but even that doesn't work properly with worldly people. Spell is basically a mysterious good feeling. It doesn't have to be. Okay, it can be that a spell works out by hooking you to some good feeling concerning something. That can be a spell. But a spell can also be that you are hindered from noticing something because you've been conditioned in a certain way. For example, a common example now, you have Bob. I'm using the name Bob again. You have Bob who has been beaten by his wife. The wife often physically assaults Bob. Now Bob goes to the police to ask for a restraining order against his wife. He wants her out of the house. But here's the thing, those police officers look at him weird and they laugh at him. They say to him, "Man, you need help." And Bob is thinking, "Don't you see these bruises I'm having? This woman's out of her mind. She might harm the kids. You need to do something." But here's the thing, those police officers, they're people too, just like Bob is. But they have been conditioned by society that women don't get physically violent against men. And if a woman happens to become physically violent against a man, then it must be because the men deserve it. They have grown into this victim category for women. That women by default in conflicts, they are the victim. And the men are the perpetrators. So after Bob kept on alarming them, they finally came to the house. And when the wife, with a Jezebel narcissist, acted like the victim, because they were conditioned, they couldn't see that she was just pretending. They couldn't see that she was a perpetrator. Sorry, I spoke too fast. They couldn't see that she was the perpetrator. Okay? Those officers are under a spell. So there's no good feeling nor any mysterious around there. They just can't see something. They've been conditioned, and because they've been conditioned in such a manner, their brains don't register such things as dangerous. Adults that used to have physically abusive parents, they have been conditioned by the community to agree with those that harm them. So when they are adults, there are going to be times that they don't notice danger. They just don't notice any danger because that part of their soul doesn't function well. And why does that part of their soul not function well? Because physically, their body may sense danger, but they themselves can't process that danger as danger. And that's how you get people that get attached to alcohol, to drugs. Not everyone that becomes a drug addict was physically assaulted by their parents or by their peers when they were young, but it can play a role. Okay? So a spell doesn't have to be a good feeling. A spell can also be that someone can't imagine receiving good news. If someone has always heard negative news about him or herself from others, an attachment is built up inside of them towards bad news concerning them. So when someone comes and treats them in a positive way, they tend to become frightened. They are under a spell. They are hooked with feeling bad about themselves. So being positive towards such people is a good thing, but it will only be of a short-term effect. They need to be delivered from that stronghold in their thinking. Okay. So levels, second part of the question again, let me read it. If you are, is what the subscriber said, if you are trying to understand why you're so interested in this thing, but struggle because it's overwhelming, that distracts you from trying to understand it, then is it a spell? Well, yes, it is. It is a spell. Okay, but here's the thing with spells. A spell can affect someone, and someone's not aware of it. But often, when you are affected by a spell, you get attached to the outworking of that spell. So you need to let go of that outworking. And that is the relief often that people have. For example, someone that has been conditioned to think bad about themselves because they come from an oppressive background, or people just associate that bad with them often, they now have relief in smoking. They now have relief in a cult they've just joined. So they have some relief from the oppression, that's the oppression in their mind. But now that relief they're holding on to is hindering their deliverance and their healing process. So now, yes, they were placed under spell, but now, without them being aware of it, they are sustaining that same spell because they're holding on to that relief. That relief is what they needed in order to keep functioning, so that the spell wouldn't kill them. But now that they need to be delivered, they need to let go of that relief, because that relief is only a short-term benefit that's renewed over and over again. So people can spell themselves without being aware of it. For example, if you are conditioned, as I mentioned before, that females cannot be physically aggressive, and it's always the fault of a man if they were. There are people conditioned like this. If you think like this and you're a male and you get into a relationship with a female that's a Jezebel narcissist towards you, you will not notice that she's like that. And you may have been learned to just cooperate, just give in. So now you have relief because you're giving in. But here's the thing, you're in danger. Because one day, that Jezebel is going to freak out. And she is going to do something very harmful that you don't realize yet. You don't see it coming. Because you've been conditioned to give in. So what's happening now when other people tell you, Jeff, you need to leave that woman. And you think, mind your own business, because there's another thing. People can't tell you stuff because it's your life, your will, your business. That attitude you also have been conditioned into. So now because you want the relief of your privacy, your life, your decision, and you also want the relief of giving in, to get ease, you're now spelling yourself. You see now why it is important to be renewed in your mind? Because a lot of people are spelling themselves. Okay, let me say it better. They are putting a spell on themselves by maintaining negativity upon themselves because they're holding on to some relief that they don't evaluate. Well, about spells, fear not. Just be renewed in your mind and it will all fade away. Be at peace.